If you're good at marketing, it's the difference between doubling or tripling your business. We have days we do $5 million.
No VC funding, multiple product categories, and a lifetime warranty. Ridge is literally breaking every single rule in the e-commerce playbook, yet the team broke the $100 million revenue mark, making them one of the largest accessory brands on the planet, capturing 1% of the entire wallet market with just one of their product lines.
Content's everything. Today, I'll spend over $200,000 on Facebook ads. I'm only able to do that because my content is so good. That's the X factor.
Sean Frank, their CEO, is here to talk to us today, breaking down localized fulfillment that allows for global expansion and how content distribution can bring in loyal customers.
People buy from people. It is the unfair advantage anyone can have. If you just get on there and just write stuff or film videos, there's free impressions to be had.
I'm Adam Levinter, and you're watching Shopify Masters, your companion for starting and scaling a business. Sean, welcome to the show.
Thanks, man. You killed it. Great intro.
Thank you. To start, one of the elements that makes Ridge so unique is the fact that you guys bootstrapped for so long. You were incubated, let's say 2014. You didn't take $1 of outside investment until 2023, which is incredible. And you hit that $100 million revenue mark. This is unheard of. How'd you do it?
Shopify and Facebook ads, man. And even in 2023, we did a very small round just to let Marques Brownlee into the business. So famous YouTuber. We really wanted to have like a creator, like officially employed inside of Ridge. We wanted him on the board, so we made a small exception. But we could still consider ourselves bootstrapped to this day, and we'll do a couple $100 million this year in revenue.
It's incredible. So a lot of Facebook ads, e-commerce has certainly changed over the last decade. In 2014, the cost per click, CPM, just general cost of acquisition was way lower. So how have you managed to pivot given the fact that, the cost of traffic, frankly, has gone up 30, 40%?
Oh yeah, man, I wish I had a time machine. I always say like, I wish I could spend more money every single year, right? Because, Facebook isn't God. It's a publicly traded company that has to show revenue growth, and they've already added every user on earth. So if they have to show revenue growth and they have all of the users, there's only two ways to grow that. They can have you spend more time on their platforms, which they're really good at. Reels is incredibly addictive, and it's like 6 hours per day people are spending on Reels or something crazy. Or they can charge more for those impressions, right? And you said 30 to 40%. I think CPMs have gone up 500%. In 2014, it was like $2 for each 1,000 people. And the average account on Facebook was running a 10x ROAS, right? Now, most brands are happy to get to a 3x, right? And that's like probably best in class. That means 1/3 of all your revenue going to marketing. And that's just the reality, right? Like the cost of attention is going up. You either have to get better at generating your own attention. That's why we wanted to bring Marques in to be like a creator-led brand. Or you have to find better, quicker ways to monetize. So we've always had to be first purchase profitable. All the brands that raised VC funding didn't have to be first purchase profitable. And that's why they went out of business, right? That muscle to like, we're only going to spend money if we can actually see direct return and profitability kept us in business this whole time and let us invest in all these new product lines.
We'll come back to marketing in a little bit, but take me back to the origin story of Ridge. How does this idea come about?
Yeah, so father, son, best friend. Daniel was a college student. He bought what he thought was a wallet on Kickstarter. It showed up, it was like a key holder. And he's like, oh, well, I should just make the product that I really want. He thinks about it for a while. He goes home. His dad starts making fun of him for just using a rubber band. And he actually like puts it in action. Him and his dad end up making that first wallet, that prototype. They put it on Kickstarter. There is like $300,000. I don't join until like 3 years later. In 2016, I had an ad agency. I was just a young guy running Facebook ads for everybody. It's really hard to sell an ad agency. It was a booming time for, e-commerce businesses, right? So I decided to get rid of my ad agency and merge it into Ridge. Me and my partner, my CMO, my best friend Connor, we take a pretty big chunk of Ridge, and they didn't really want to run it anymore, right? So father, son, best friend, they're like super Buddhist. They didn't really want to have to do like the extreme hiring and firing and scaling up this business. So I'm like, cool, I'll do all of that. You guys made the product. I'll just scale this business. When I met them, they were doing $5 million a year, and we have days we do $5 million, right? So that was like 10 years ago. It's been crazy.
That is crazy. Talk to me about that. So as an agency owner, you have visibility into various clients that you're running ads for. And from a bird's eye view, you can sort of, I would imagine, handpick what business you would likely invest in or get more involved with. Was this the case with Ridge? Like you were looking at in the context of your total portfolio and saying to yourself, Like if I was going to jump into some business or one of our clients' businesses, this would be it.
Yeah. I wish I had, a broader scope, but I had like 10 clients. 8 of them were horrible. Like 8 of them were not going to work. They were not worth investing any more time. They were barely holding on. Like even in 2016 with all the, cheap CPMs. There's a couple winners in that group. Mudwater was an early client and
yes.
they've gone on to crush it. But yeah, Ridge is just like perfect team. There was no egos. They were willing to get out of the way. They tell the story that when they hit $5,000 a day, they would have traded the whole business just for a guaranteed $5,000 a day. They were like, this is way bigger than we ever thought possible. And now it just blows their mind, right? So it was just like a very good founding team who was willing to accept us to like run the whole thing. And yeah, the thing had legs. Like every dollar we put into Facebook, it just kept working and working and working. And it was really just limited by inventory, right? So yeah, we got super lucky.
Okay. So that transition from agency owner to now operator CEO, you were obviously well-versed in marketing and customer acquisition. That seemed to be your forte, but you've got to learn fulfillment. You've got to learn distribution. You've got to learn manufacturing. You start in the US, you've opened up, 5 or 6 markets since then. What were the challenges along the way?
Well, I think everyone actually, in those early days, marketing was everything. Like I always said, like Ridge was a marketing company. It was just all about getting attention, right? I think people focus on those other things way too much, like getting really good at fulfillment or really good at manufacturing. The thing is, if you're bad at fulfillment, it goes from being, 9% of revenue to 13% of revenue, which is like substantial. Like you want to see that savings. But if you're good at marketing, it's, the difference between doubling or tripling your business, right? Marketing is like exponential and really worth like understanding and investing everything into in those early days. So we thought marketing was the most important. Now, as we're like a mature business, yeah, fulfillment, that 3% savings you can have like really, really matters. But we just had a long time to learn that stuff. Any of those commodity businesses, right? Like a manufacturer only has like 10% margins. And if you're horrible at manufacturing, as long as you don't like make something that doesn't fit an iPhone case or something, you're going to be pretty okay. Marketing is where companies lose all their money.
Talk to me about the problem that Ridge solves. I don't think a lot of the audience that's watching or listening today will be totally familiar with exactly what the problem is in the market. They'll just say, like, how do you, Ridge, carve out 1% of market share, which, by the way, is incredible? Why is this wallet company so big? How did it reach $100 million in revenue? Why is this problem such a big deal?
The global wallet market, it sounds so stupid to say, it's $10 billion. It's just massive, right? Like, that's bigger than the global luggage market. Just a lot of people are buying wallets all over the world. Now, the luxury market of that is like really, really heavy, right? So LVMH and Kering, which owns Gucci, like has probably half that market share because they just sell a lot of small leather goods. It was a really big market that had no innovation, was super stuffy, and nobody cared about, right? Like if you're an LVMH, what you really care about is women's handbags. You really care about like the runway line. The men's leather wallet market is like the bottom of the checklist. People just buy because it's the cheapest thing with a logo on it. So really large market, nobody cared about. And at the end of the day, look, we really consider ourselves like a gift giving company. Like if you're going to like Christmas and you have to get your uncle a gift, you have no idea what size he is, right? But credit cards all fit the same thing. And like we'll have his favorite NFL team on there, or we'll have a cool pattern or carbon fiber. So we were able to capture, over 1% of that wallet market just by being the only people spending ad dollars on it and like trying to bring innovation to it. And then since then, the wallets are like less than half of our revenue now. So like we've just gone into like all accessories, right? We have a luggage line, and when we launched that, it was like trying to be the men's Away, right? I think Away does an amazing job, super close with that team. They would tell you that they're more female focused. Probably 60 to 70% of their customers are women. Nobody's making like the everyday dad version of Away. So that's kind of what we wanted to go after.
Got it. Let's go back to Marques for a moment. So you partner with Marques. He comes in 2023. You'd been working with him for a long time. How does he fit into the whole content and distribution strategy that Ridge has? Why is he so important?
Well, Marques Brownlee is like an icon when it comes to tech YouTube. 20 million subs. And, we have like a big rollout in Best Buy. And if you go to Best Buy, there's like a big photo of him. And so it's a big photo of him and then all of our products underneath. It just helped legitimize the rest of the line, right? We've been the number one player in wallets for a long time. There's more Google searches for Ridge Wallet than Men's Wallet. So like we're very much bigger than the category. But we want to get into other products, right? We want to get into phone cases, power banks, cables. We wanted to get into luggage and backpacks and all these different things. And Marques Juan helps us tell the story, right? So he's really good at filming content. This week, we're going to be in 3 of his videos. Each video gets 10 million views on YouTube, right? So he has built-in distribution. He's great at storytelling. And it's just like a stamp of approval. Like if we're working with him, people were more willing to try our phone case or whatever else because there's tech icon saying it's pretty okay.
Speaking of content, you launched your own podcast, the Operators Podcast, I think it's called, with 3 other individuals. This is inspired by All In, for those folks that know the All In podcast. You said that you've been able to monetize this podcast to the tune of $5 million in revenue?
Yeah, the podcast makes a ton of money.
Okay, tell me more.
Well, it's a very niche podcast like the one you're listening to right now. The whole idea behind it was like, there's a lot of podcasts talking like, there's like founders or how I built this. And they're talking about these like massive companies that have like these huge successes or these like really long, arcs and stories. But running an e-commerce business kind of sucks, like in the day-to-day, right? You're dealing with, a Terraform, or you're dealing with Facebook Ads Manager, or you're dealing with hiring employees and COVID and going remote and all these different challenges. And there was just, there was not a lot of niche content focused on that. Right. So it's me, the guy from Simple Modern, another $100 million business, the guy from Pillowcase and Lomi, which is like a food composter thing, another $100 million business, and then Hexclad, which is like, they'll do $1 billion this year in revenue. And we just talk about the days and the ins and out of running an e-commerce business. Yeah. And people love to sponsor that. So we make a ton of money off that.
But people love to sponsor it because you're generating X number of listeners, or you have this much traffic or impressions from your podcast, and therefore they're able to run those numbers and they can see that data and then decide whether or not they want to sponsor, correct?
Yeah, look, it's a really small
audience-driven strategy.
Yeah, it's incredibly niche, but everyone who listens to it runs a Shopify store, right? So if you're an ERP or an ad channel or whatever, like the B2B marketing is really hard. So we're lucky that Facebook built this ad engine where like I can go out there and every single day I find 3,000 people who want a Ridge wallet, right? But if you're in B2B marketing, it just doesn't work like that. If you're trying to sell, Shopify apps, a massive ecosystem, how do you actually get the 500 stores that matter to actually download it? Where do you reach them, people? It's conferences, or it's the Shopify Masters podcast, or it's the operators, right? It's very hard to reach those people.
How do you build an audience or connect with a broader community if you don't have a brand like Ridge or a Hexclad? You don't have that $100 million, marker attached to your name. Do you think that you would have still invested so much time or effort in a podcast, for example? Would you recommend that founders do that? Talk to me a little bit about the connection between audience and brand and audience.
If you're going to start anything today, I think you have to do it from a content first place, right? The best product doesn't win just because intention is so expensive, right? Every single day you're competing with the funniest videos on TikTok or like the best shows that have ever been created. Like all content is in front of you at all times. And when you have a physical product or a service or whatever, you have to get there and find customers, and you're fighting through all that noise. So if you're going to launch anything, I think it has to be content first. The reason why we brought Marques is the reason why I have a podcast is because I think it is the unfair advantage anyone can have is that like, if you just get on there and just write stuff or film videos, there's free impressions to be had. And you just have to get really, really good at that. And then once you get really good at that, then you can monetize it through, you can do a podcast or a service or a physical product, right? I think content's everything. Today, I'll spend over $200,000 on Facebook ads. I'm only able to do that because my content is so good, right? My actual ad creative that my team actually goes out there and shoots and creates. I think that's the X factor. So if you're an entrepreneur and you want to launch something, you have to have some sort of content component. And it's going to be cringe and it's going to suck and it's going to be hard to do at first, but just shots on goal reps because content's everything. Mm-hmm. People are spending like 12 hours a day just consuming content, and you have to stand out versus the funniest AI TikTok videos now, right?
You're active on X, you're active on LinkedIn, you do the podcast. It's safe to say you've attached your name and your face to the brand. Are you saying that there has to be, if it's not the founder, there has to be someone that's going to be that face of the brand that is putting out that content on these platforms?
Yeah, look, people buy from people, right? And I've only sold a couple $1 million worth of wallets myself via my face. But like the reason why I brought Marques in is because Marques is that person, right? He can be the avatar that stands in for the brand in so many places, in Best Buy, in our ads on YouTube. And he's helped us sell tens of millions of dollars worth of wallets, right? You're competing against nameless corporations on Amazon and Temu and TikTok Shop that will always beat you on price. And you're competing against behemoths like Lululemon or any of these like giant companies, right? So how do you stand out between people who have $1 billion marketing budget and people who are beating you on price? It's storytelling. That's like what wins that middle market that we're competing in. If you're a founder, I think you have to be doing that, right? You have to be creating content. And if it's not going to be you, somebody on your team has to do it, but you probably don't have the money to pay for somebody. I always tell, because part of the operator's thing is like, lots of $5 million a year Shopify stores ask us for advice all the time. And my number one piece of advice is just film TikToks. Just film short form content of yourself telling your story and do that for 4 hours a day. It's probably the best use of your time because if one of those videos pops off, you can get $100,000 in sales, right? That's way more than optimizing your supply chain or anything else. It's just the modern day version of Facebook ads in 2014.
So going back to Facebook ads in 2014, that I would imagine is your primary source of traffic, your primary source of revenue. How much were you spending as a balance of your total marketing budget back in 2014 on Meta and related properties versus what you spend on Meta today? What does that balance look like and where else are the marketing dollars going?
Well, yeah, in 2014, I spent every single dollar I had. So 100% of all of my money was going to Meta. It was the greatest return ever. It's like, people talk about the glory days, but it was like Facebook was the first people to like bring a money printing machine into like the modern era, right? You could really put $1 in and get $5 out. And the money printing machine still works today. It's just gotten harder and worse over time. So I put every single dollar I've ever had into that up until like probably 2017. In 2017, we got more into influencer advertising. So we were really early to podcasts and YouTubers and that type of stuff. I mean, obviously you're always running, Google branded search. I think YouTube has been like a really under monetized asset. I think they're trying to monetize it more aggressively. I think YouTube Shorts has been great. We spend money on TikTok and Snapchat. Our new strategy is if there's any digital ad space on the internet, we're going to try spending money there. So from Pinterest and Reddit to new channels like AppLovin, any digital ad space I can spend on, I will, just because the more people we reach with Ridge, the better.
What do you think some of those new channels will return? Like if you were going to bet on a horse, let's say outside of Meta, Pinterest, TikTok, Reddit, YouTube, whatever. Where would you bet those marketing dollars in terms of projected return on ad spend going forward?
Yeah, until you're spending like at least $100,000 a month, I wouldn't get off of Meta, right? So once you're over $100,000 a month in marketing spend, I would really look at the whole Google suite, right? So I would try to spend as little money as possible on Google branded, but then YouTube Shorts is probably the most under monetized asset. There's a ton of attention there. They have really good targeting because it's backed by Google. So I'd go there, and then I'd probably go Snapchat, and then I would go TikTok, then I would go AppLovin. And then it's just like a long tail where today probably half of my money goes into Meta, and then there's another 10 other things that equal up the other half, right? Influencer is great, but it's really hit or miss. We've really honed that muscle. We have a deal with Marques and everybody else. So like I can spend efficiently on influencer marketing, but it's really easy to get excited and blow your whole budget.
Let's talk fulfillment and manufacturing. You start in the US, you have a local fulfillment center. How does this grow overall from a fulfillment infrastructure standpoint? What was the second market? What was the third market? How were you pick, packing, and shipping?
Well, yeah, like most Shopify stores, we started in a garage. So we were doing it. The founders were doing it themselves, 100 orders a day, maybe, right? And that was a big day. And then we found a local 3PL in Southern California, but they just ended up not being as mature as we needed, right? So we ended up going with one of the big players. There's ShipBob, ShipMonk, ShipHero. We've used all the ship people. We ended up going to one node in the US and then two nodes in the US, so we can be bi-coastal, right? This works if you're not in apparel. If you're in apparel, it's too hard. There's not enough throughput per SKU. You have too many SKUs, so you probably need one node, but we're in accessories, so we can have two nodes. The Ridgewell is like designed for e-commerce, right? It's very small, fits in a flat pack.
Lightweight, ship friendly.
Exactly. So we're able to, have two nodes, ship across the whole country, and then you start doing cross-border shipments, right? So you open up the whole world, Shopify Markets makes that easy, and then you ship from one of your nodes to Canada or the UK or Germany or wherever. But then at a certain point, you want to take that market more seriously, so you open up a new node in those markets. So we went to Canada first. So we have a Canadian node, and the beauty of Canada is you can ship into the US with that inventory or across Canada, right? So we have local inventory in Canada. It's pretty easy to get into America when we need. So the Northeast is taken care of. It ships out of Toronto. And then you go to the UK, right? Once again, this works with accessories because not a lot of SKU, right? So we end up having a UK node that serves that market locally. Then we have an EU node in the Netherlands that serves that market locally. And then we have one in Australia. So we end up going to, probably 8 nodes. We have 3 in the US right now. We have 1 in Mexico. So we just ship everywhere.
How do you evaluate the quality of these fulfillment centers? How do you know that they're the right center for Ridge?
Well, dude, I mean, we've gone through a lot of fulfillment centers, right? So
Trial and error.
yeah. And it really depends on who's working on the account is what we found. Because I've had good experiences with people that people have had horrible experiences with, right? You can go with any of the big names, right? Chipmunk, Shapiro, ShipBob, Seco. They'll give you 7 out of 10 service probably all the time. They have really good infrastructure. And then if you want to go for a more niche name, you have to actually probably fly there and invest the time and energy. Fulfillment's hard. It's a really hard business. A lot of ways for it to go wrong.
Is returns a factor in your world?
We have a really low return rate.
I would imagine. Like, why are people returning Ridge wallets?
See, the thing is, the size, it always fits. That's why it's a great uncle gift, right? That was like our big unlock is like these gift giving periods, like a 4% return rate. And that really also helps with the localized fulfillment centers. Because if you shipped from the US to the UK, getting that unit back to you from the UK is probably $50. So you don't really want to do that. Getting it back to the UK warehouse, $4, very easy.
Talk to me about the analytics and the metric side of the business. So when you think about customer lifetime value in the context of something that has a lifetime warranty attached to it, how are you measuring LTV in this case?
Like I said, we had to be first purchase profitable because there was no LTV in the business. So the average guy never buys a wallet in his life, right? Almost every wallet they get is just a gift given to them. So it's very hard to sell them. And once we do sell them, they never buy another one, right? We have like a small group of super fans who might buy 2 to 4 to 10, but like 99% of people are never buying another wallet. So we have this problem where we have, at this point, it was millions of customers, all incredibly happy, all love the brand, never coming back to buy another thing. So what do you do in that situation, right? That's when we started launching new products.
Sell them on the podcast.
Yeah. So that's when we started launching all these new products. Now it's a great path where we could sell somebody a phone case, and then we sell them a wallet, and then we sell them a ring, and then we sell them a luggage. And like all of these products start working together. But yeah, that was the biggest problem for like probably 7 years is that our LTV sucked.
How do you decide what that product extension is going to look like? Like to expand beyond wallets, to increase LTV, you say to yourselves, okay, so there's no recurring revenue attached to this one SKU. We have to introduce new SKUs. So let's do luggage or let's do rings. These ideas start to percolate, but then they have to be tested, right? You have to validate them. Talk to me about that process.
Yeah, look, that was like a big debate internally. I'm probably the most aggressive when it comes to new product expansion, right? I don't really believe in the idea of like brand permission. A lot of people are like, oh, I sell this thing, so I can't sell these other things. I always put it like, Bic, they make lighters, they make pens, and they make razors. It's like stuff made out of plastic. That's that business, right? Yeah. Those 3 product categories have nothing in common besides just being disposable plastic things. Right. And I'm like, okay, we should just do a bunch of different stuff, right? So I'm the most aggressive with that. And it's just every year we dedicate like $1 million budget to just totally waste on new product expansion. Rings are like a 8-figure business for us, growing super fast. When we launched rings, we also launched watches the same year. I don't sell watches anymore. Massive disaster. Okay, people did not want to buy watches.
Not watch bands, watches.
Yeah, watches themselves.
Because I know you're in watch bands also.
Crushing it in watch bands, right? But trying to actually sell mechanical watches, right? Non-smart watches. Yeah. Went to go sell those. Nobody wanted to buy them from us. Like then the week later we launched rings, massive hit. So like it's just a lot of product testing. I don't think we as brand owners actually know what people want from us. We just have to try a bunch of stuff.
And you are trialing these products by running ads and then driving traffic to a checkout page.
Yeah.
Testing conversion that way.
That's the smart way to do it, right? Just do a product render, run a dummy product, see if you get sales, and then just refund those customers, apologize, give them a free item of their choice or whatever. That's the smart way to do it. You save a bunch of money. We ended up actually just committing to a lot of these product launches. So we tried t-shirts, we tried socks. Those did not go well. We tried water bottles. Those went okay. So it's just always swapping these products out and just seeing how far you can expand the brand. Now we're super happy. We sell men's accessories and wallets and rings, and now we sell luggage and we sell tech products. I think that's a pretty good lineup. We're not really looking for more product expansion, but if I didn't do that, my business would just be stuck at $100 million, right? We'll do a couple $100 million this year because of that product expansion.
Will you leverage AI to decide what SKUs are next?
We're trying as much as possible. AI really helps with like in like the design and mock-up phase, right? Going from like a product idea to like an actual render to getting into designs has been awesome. Like AI has a bunch of great insights about our business. We put in all of our data, helps us unlock little like colors we should try or, different like, features we can add, stuff like that. But we haven't been like, what's the next product for us? We haven't tried that yet.
How do you leverage AI in the context of your operations, your team? I would imagine it's embedded in customer service. How do you use it? How do you leverage it?
I think there's like probably 5 ways we can walk through. If this last half of the podcast will just be an AI podcast. So customer service is a super easy one, right? At this point, it's like 60% of our tickets are being answered by AI, right? And what we've seen is that like our NPS scores, our CSAT scores, like every way our customers can grade us, they love talking to the AI, right? Like we're at like 95s or 97s. When people were doing it, it was like 90, right? So we're still doing okay. You get like a 20% improvement boost or 10% improvement boost by just putting more AI on there. It's faster, it's quicker, it's more accurate, right? So customer service is an easy one. The next one is just like data analysis and data integrity. So we have a data warehouse. And then I go on Shopify, I get all these reports, all these screenshots. Instead of like doing anything manually, I could just take a screenshot, drop it in ChatGPT, it runs the analysis for me, right? So now my entire team is operating like data scientists, right? Where they all have access to Shopify, they're all pulling the reports, but instead of, crunching the numbers and comparing it and going back and forth or like, spending 4 hours or waiting for one of the data team to actually do the analysis for them, they're all empowered to do it just with ChatGPT, right? So customer service, I think data analysis. The third one is obviously coding, right? So like our website's great. We have 2 engineers on staff, right? So we maintain 6 Shopify instances, all these landing pages, everything. We're getting it done with like 2 full-time engineers, right? We probably never have to hire another engineer, which is crazy. As our business continues to grow and it'll double again.
Wait, did you have more engineers at one point and you've cut back since you've been leveraging AI, or it's always been?
So yeah, it's always just been 2. Right? It's typically like we have one person to cover for somebody else, but now we're just doing way more. We're gonna do a whole site rebuild. We'll never have to hire another engineer. So that's been pretty awesome. The fourth one is inventory buying and management, right? We used to have probably 3 people in the inventory team. I have 1 person now. I have 1 inventory director who does all of our planning and buying just because of AI, right? So you take all of our sales data, all of our sales analysis, what's going on, what are we launching, running that through a really complex model, all of that's being done with AI right now. So that saves me headcount, right? And the last one is probably the most cutting edge one is like actually putting AI into marketing. So like there's copywriting, right? So we went into Claude and we built like a copywriting bot. So you put all of your favorite copy you've ever written, right? All of your best performing emails, all of the data you have on that. And then now, when we have a new campaign, we can kind of outline what the campaign is. We can show it photos, show it renders, and now all of my copy is being written, right? So that's easy, right? So anyone can do that right now. You go into Claude, make a custom GPT, make a project. You can start getting all of your copy written by AI. The next level down is actually getting images created for AI, right? Static ads, right? And you can go in there manually and you can like, really prompt that and really try to work on getting an ad. What we've done is we made a custom GPT. We dumped in a bunch of our favorite ads, our best performing ads ever, and then we hooked it up to N8N, and then we just have that run automatically in the background. Then it just takes those files. So it's like, make me new static ads like these, right? And just always prompting it. And then we take all those static ads and we put it into a Google Drive, automatic with N8N. So I get 500 ads a day, right? So that's like a static ad factory. The next one on top of that, we'll be doing that with video. So that's like the marketing first function. Right now, we probably have in our ad account, 100 ads entirely AI that are generated that are getting ad dollars spent on them.
Do those outperform the ads that your design and creative team would otherwise produce?
No. So our design team will always produce like 10 out of 10 ads. That like the best performing ads will always be them, but it just comes down to volume, right? So like automatically, no hands-on keyboard, I can get 500 static ads a day, and pretty soon I'll get 100 video ads a day, right? At least hooks, some stuff to try, all being done with AI. And out of those 500, 450, horrible. Never going to run them in the account, right? But the top 10% are probably going to be between 5 out of 10 and 7 out of 10. They'll get some spend behind them, right? And the future of advertising is just shots on goal. You just want as many lotto tickets as possible, as many ad variants as possible, because it's going to be more personalized advertising. What you see and what you like is going to be totally different from what I see and what I like. And Facebook will deliver those ads in the moment to those people. So it's just shots on goal. So like, yes, the best performing ad a human can do, we'll absolutely get more ad dollars behind it. But it's just the sheer number.
The upside of this is obviously lean startup oriented, right? You can run your operation super efficiently. And you guys are doing that, I think, to the tune of like $10 million per employee is the number that I came across.
We're not that good.
Okay.
But like we're at $5 million per US full-time hire right now.
And do you publicize that information with your team? Like they know that they're like, that is the productivity number for this company?
Yeah, look, we run a wildly transparent organization. So everyone knows revenue, profit, everything going on. And we have plans to hire 3 or 4 people the next year, right? But at a company our size, 10 years ago, you'd be hiring 50 people,
right?
Right? It's no longer that headcount equals results. And I think leaner teams with more AI tools are getting more done.
I mean, that dovetails neatly into the macro conversation of the impact of AI on jobs. I'd just love to get your point of view on that and also where the future of e-commerce and D2C and consumer brands is going.
Well, I have no idea what AI is going to do to jobs, right? It's obviously making us all more efficient. But I cut headcount by 15 people this year and I'm doing more revenue and I don't have plans to hire more people. So I think
that's one use case.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think it's really hard to be a college grad right now, coming out of like what workforce you're going to go into. But at the same time, Gen Z is actually more empowered to do their own thing than ever before, right? You can build your own company. You can vibe code a software product. I think there's a million new ways to make money. It's so much easier. But the traditional path, I think, is more or less dead, right? And then what I do know about is e-commerce. If you look at any of the dot-com stocks, most of them peaked in 1998 or 1999, and they ended up not reaching those same heights until, 2009 or 2010, right? It's not like those companies were bad. Some of them were. Pets.com went out of business, right? But a lot of great dot-com era companies, the Googles, the Microsofts, whatever, they weren't worse companies in that 10-year period. They built and they try to get better every single year. E-commerce is the same thing. We peaked in 2021 with COVID. Valuations were at all-time highs. We're in like a 10-year period where like we're all building, we're making better companies, but we're dealing with the shadow of what was like the former peak. So with AI coming, I think it's going to be harder to be in software. And I think brands will continue to shine and just give it time. And if you just survive COVID, survive everything else, I think you will be rewarded.
Well, kudos to you guys for surviving and thriving.
You're trying every day, man.
Sean, thanks so much for your time, man. This is a lot of fun.
Love being here. Thank you.
Congrats on all the success.
Cool, man.
Thanks so much for tuning into the show today. If you liked what you saw, drop us a comment right down below. Don't forget to follow Shopify Masters on YouTube and elsewhere. I'm your host, Adam Levinter, and we'll see you next time.